Hey guys, what is going on? I bet you didn't think we would be seeing some Cold War content on the channel for you here today, but we are expecting some new content very soon for Cold War, which is very exciting. There is an official blog post, there was tweets about it. Basically, the content that has been sort of leaked and sort of rumored for a little while now, that's actually coming to fruition, which is very exciting. And on the 4th of March, so I believe this could be either out already when you're watching this video or out tomorrow, depending on what time they actually do decide to launch this. But we are going to be getting a new map in WMD, which is very exciting, which is a remake of a Black Ops 1 map, and I think it was in Black Ops 4 as well off the top of my head. We're also getting a new assault rifle in the VARGO 52. Now keep in mind, this VARGO 52 was actually available a little while ago and has been around for a little bit now. I think you could unlock it in Modern Warfare for some reason, like there's a challenge that you have to do, but in Modern Warfare you could just somehow complete the challenge without really knowing about what it was. And I was never going to download like 250 gigabytes of like the Warzone patch just to be able to unlock a gun so I could make a video on it. I'm just going to wait until it actually comes out. So yeah. So we are going to be taking a look at the VARGO 52, of course, very soon when it does launch. We're going to take a look at that and maybe the new map as well. So expect a couple of videos on the new Cold War content coming out very soon. So for those of you who don't know, WMD is a map, as I mentioned, that is a remastered classic map from, of course, the original Black Ops. And again, I believe it was featured in Black Ops 4 as well, which is very exciting. WMD does, of course, bring operators to an abandoned weapons facility, which is very cool. If you've ever played this map before, you know it's an absolute banger. The sort of backstory behind this is, of course, that Perseus operations are beginning or spinning up around a lost weapons facility in the mountains, and apparently this was a map that was first introduced to us in Black Ops. Of course, WMD is a fairly big map when you do consider some of the other maps in the game, featuring a lot of different power positions that you can sort of explore, including like a sniper's tower and stuff like that in the big silo thing. There's like King of the Hill style areas on this map. There's a lot of cool stuff to actually take and hold. We might end up even making a map guide on this as well, just as something to do a little bit more content. If you've never seen this map before, the general layout does start, of course, with teams spawning on the left and the right hand sides of the map, while giving the left side immediate access to a crane in a research power position, and on the right side giving immediate access to the silo that we did mention of well, with the sniping position on top of that thing. There's a shipment area and, of course, production. The top and bottom parts of the maps are equally accessible to both teams, so it's kind of like a bit of a 3-lane style-ish map, but there's lots of ins and outs in areas where you get like lots of close range combat. But again, as I did mention, there's like lots of sniper towers on this thing. There's a big silo that you can sit up and snipe on. They've even got some top tips on the blog post, but we're not going to go through those today. We might include those in a bit of a sneaky little map guide when we do end up making that video. But basically, there's a lot of different power positions that you can sit on this map, and it's very important to know about them, and we'll eventually get around to showing those off. There are lots of different objective modes featured on this map, and they are mostly located on the ground floors of each of the different rooms and stuff like that, and they are particularly vulnerable from like outside areas. So if you are sort of sitting in like factory areas, you're going to be visible from sort of outside and longer distance lines of sight. So again, this is one of those maps where you can get a little bit of combat for everyone, which is very exciting. We get a bit of close range stuff in and out of the factories and stuff like that, in and out of the big shed buildings. You get your shotgun, you get your SMGs, and start sprinting around everywhere and have a sick time. Or if you like to sit back a little bit, you like to sit in perches and things, you get your assault rifle, get your marksman rifles, you do all those lovely things, get your sniper out and start picking people off as they do try and move around the different corridors and the different buildings and stuff like that. So again, as I said, a little bit of combat for everyone, and WMD is a very cool addition to the game. I'm just still surprised we're actually getting Cold War content at all. I thought they were going to be done with this game, but apparently they decided, this is the meme that I sort of did compare this to. It's like, yeah, babe, wake up, it's time to make more content for Cold War, and they're like, fine, we're busy doing like not making good zombie stuff, so let's make some maps and guns for Cold War. So some insider info on the VARGO 52, the new assault rifle that we are getting here. We'll flash up a screenshot on the screen. It's not a great view of this thing, but again, I'm sure some of you already have played with this, some of you have already unlocked this, some of you have already messed around with this. So again, very cool stuff here. The VARGO 52 is apparently one mean gun, and apparently it is particularly effective when versatile attachment and versatile equipment does reign, and in zombies it can be one of the best assault rifles in the game with the right suite of attachments, which is actually quite cool. The in-game description is, of course, a fully auto assault rifle, good damage at mid-range with a fast fire rate, which is something that we do of course love. If this could be like a 3 or 4 5 shot kill, this could be a decent gun in Cold War. Improved muzzle velocity and reliable handling for steady firing control. So this is going to be basically a middle-of-the-road assault rifle with slightly higher fire rate than you would expect. Decent damage. This is going to be pretty easy to control in my opinion. To unlock this in multiplayer, there's going to be a little bit of a challenge that you do need to complete, but it's not going to be too difficult. But with the Cold War challenges, as I remember them, basically you are not able to leave the game. You sort of have to finish them, and it's a little bit of a pain. But using assault rifles deal 1,000 damage in 15 different completed matches, which is really not that bad. That's actually not that many kills. I believe it's about 6.5, 7 kills. So if you were to get 7 full 150 HP kills with an assault rifle, you're going to be able to get this done, which is really, really easy. But again, you do have to do that over 15 completed matches, which is the problem. It does take a little while to get those 15 matches done, regardless of how well you're doing. So particularly you're going to want to play in game modes that don't typically last too long. You probably want to go into like TDM or something like that, just so you can get relatively quick games. If you end up on hardpoint, if you end up on domination, you can actually last a little while, which is not ideal for something like this, especially if you are trying to unlock this as fast as possible. So just keep that in mind if you are up to this thing. A couple of tips with this weapon: apparently it does feature a relatively predictable upward recoil control pattern, so if you do pull down on the stick or you pull down on your mouse, you're going to be able to sort of control this thing fairly easily. But again, if you are holding this thing down, sustaining that fire, it can be a little tricky to control apparently, so just make sure you're sort of firing in sort of shorter bursts and you're letting go of that trigger. You don't just hold it down the entire time. And if you do end up holding it down for a little bit, make sure you just pull down on the stick or pull down on your mouse, and you should be able to hit heaps of targets with this thing. However, because it is only mostly vertical recoil, this is really, really accurate weapon. It's going to be quite nice at those medium to longer distances. Those sight lines are going to be able to be controlled by you, especially if it really is only vertical recoil control. So just pull down on the stick, pull down on your mouse, you'll be able to hit easy shots with this thing. Another tip is that this thing is particularly effective at range. So we're going to have some attachments that do end up boosting that, like of course the 17.1 inch VDV reinforced barrel attachment with this thing, and you're going to get a decent chunk of damage range with that, which is very, very nice. I've already got a little bit of an idea of a class setup that I'd sort of want to run on most assault rifles in Cold War. So once we do unlock a lot of the attachments for this thing, I believe we've got a couple of double XP tokens that we can use to unlock some of the attachments with this thing. I think this is going to be one of the better guns in the game, and definitely a very cool addition. This thing does have good range and good bullet velocity, which is fantastic for hit detection. If you remember from Cold War, the bullet velocity in that game was a little janky sometimes. Like if it was slow, it did feel like you were lagging a bit, so just keep that in mind. This is going to be a decent weapon for range and bullet velocity. And lastly, because this is a relatively fast firing weapon in this game, it is going to be very easy for you to chew through your ammunition in this particular game with this gun, because I mean, fast firing, low magazine size, you're going to be able to run through your ammo very, very quickly here. So it's important that you either try and get a larger magazine as quickly as possible. I'm not 100% sure of the exact magazine sizes, but again, try and get a larger magazine whenever you can. You can take scavenger, you can take like a larger magazine attachment, you can take of course the upgrades in the field upgrades and the wild cards and stuff that usually allow you to get more ammo. So just keep that in mind. Very, very simple tips here, but again, fairly useful for something like this. And of course they are adding another bundle in as well with this thing, when they do usually add these challenge weapons into the game. With the Vargo 52, there is apparently a ferrofluid weapon blueprint that's going to be like a mastercraft, I believe, and it's going to be reactive and it's going to look pretty cool. So keep an eye out for that if you do just want to unlock this thing straight away. Get some decent attachments for it off the rip. You definitely can do that. You can get away with that very, very easily here. So just keep it in mind. If you don't want to have to do the challenge, which could take a little bit of your time, getting those 1,000 damage in 15 different completed games can take approximately, like, I guess about 2.5, 3 hours, depending on how you quickly are finding those games. You can probably do it even quicker than that, but again, this is a very, very exciting time to be a Call of Duty fan, especially if you did like Cold War like I did. I believe there's a very, very cool game in Cold War again, and I'm loving that they are adding new content to that game. Hopefully we do end up seeing some more content for this. Hopefully we end up seeing some more Vanguard content fairly soon with the mid-season update. Hopefully that's right around the corner. I don't think it's too far away. There's also a new gun in that mid-season update, and we will probably take a look at some of the mid-season update coming with Vanguard very, very soon. And if you do want to see more Cold War content, if you do want to see more Vanguard stuff, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. I do very much appreciate it, and it really does help me out. And of course, we are still looking for 6,000 subscribers, and if you could help me achieve that goal, that would be absolutely massive. So again, thank you for watching this one, and hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye!